Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Skipton Talks. Today I have with me in the studio Greg Cunningham from L&G Mortgage Club. Greg is the Head of Strategic Accounts Lender, and I'm really pleased that I got all of that in the right order.
That was very well done.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming into Skipton. Thanks for bringing the weather with you. So I think I'm right in saying we're approaching 6 months in the new role, the move from broker world to lender world. Two things. First of all, what's surprised you in a good way since you made the move across, and what's been more challenging for you?
Great questions, and welcome. Thank you for having me. Obviously, my second time I come to Skipton,
Yes,
as you know, because part of the new role is I really wanted to kind of get to know lenders as well as I possibly can and see the detail how you operate, and it's been really interesting. In terms of one of the things I've noticed, very different to broker and intermediary, is obviously broker intermediary, we see lenders very much as mortgage product, mortgage criteria. And one thing I'm now realising as kind of distributor is you're much, much bigger than that, much more on your pad, which I'm sure you're listening to and thinking, yeah, we've tried to tell you that for years and years and years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously part of the role, the reason I kind of came over is we've restructured. So we're not just club, we're now mortgage services. So I think one of the real eye-openers has been, I already knew the club, I knew, biggest distributor in the country, over 100 bill lending, a third of all intermediary mortgages, so that I was ready for. But we also kind of cover Ignite, which is one of the main technology businesses in the industry. So obviously criteria affordability product. We've got one of the largest surveying businesses in the country, LGSS, which obviously I cover the lender relationships with my team as well. And I think it's just been the sheer scale of kind of legal and general mortgage services and where we sit within the market. And one thing behind that is realising we really can move the dial. And for me, that's been one of the big positives. So although that's kind of bring responsibility, it means we're genuine close strategic partners with key lenders such as yourself.
Okay.
So, the two of us can genuinely talk about something and think, right, we can do a 5-year plan of where we think, say, the first time buyer market will go. And actually we can make that happen. And that's been really,
So
really
it's not just about next week's product or tweaks to criteria, it's much more strategic.
Yeah, very strategic, and even to the level of government engagement and thinking how you're going to interact with EDA. And as mentioned, the tech side, where I've spent years and years actually getting quite bored of technology businesses trying to sell me things, but now looking at things and going, no, we have all of these intermediaries who need to know what works for them, what benefits them, that's what we're here for. So I think those strategic discussions with you as lenders to work together to say, how do we get things there? And that's been really fascinating. In terms of challenges, I almost guarantee this will be similar to yourself working for Skipton. It's been the sheer number of things we want to do and almost feel you need to do and having to prioritise. So the amount of times I'll do a lender meeting or a broker meeting and they'll say, you really should do this. And I sit there and think, yeah, we should. And actually that's a brilliant idea. And then I take it internally and we go, yeah, we can do that. So here's this other 100 things we're doing. Where does it go?
Which one do you want to do?
And that's been a genuine challenge, having to almost say no to good ideas, but it does come from the right intentions. And so part of obviously my role and what we're doing at L&G overall is just making sure we really do hyper-focus on those priorities and get it right and add value to members and the market when we do so.
So that's an interesting one then. So you've got your list of 100 and there'll be some firms over here saying, that's our priority, and some firms over here saying that's our priority, and some lenders saying, oh, we'd really like you to do this. How do you take all that into the mix and get it right?
Yeah. And again, you'll have similar with brokers, and it's a great question, because one thing I say to my team all the time is, having kind of my whole career being lender obsessed, I love working with you guys. I'm sure you're aware of this, but you're all so different. It's quite funny. We've got, I think, 114 lenders on panel. And you have to really get under the bonnet culturally of how you work, because you are different priorities, different culture ways, all doing great things, but in slightly different ways. And so it's about making sure you're really clear on your own internal strategy, working collaboratively with you as lenders. And that way, theoretically, you get to a place where things align anyway through those conversations. But it is a challenge, and you do have to prioritise. And for example, you don't want to just always work on the big lenders' behalf and ignore the smaller lenders, because actually they're huge contributors to the market and add value.
And add diversity and all that.
Hugely.
Okay. Let's move on. Some of the challenges, I guess, in our industry. So, it's no secret that at Skipton, our focus is about championing the first-time buyer. the track record product last year was a real headline maker for us, and we're really proud with what we've achieved there. We'll make some changes to that in the coming weeks, so watch this space
I'm excited
for some changes. But I guess another 2-point question from me is, from your perspective, with the sheer size of the market that you guys represent, what's still missing in our industry to help first-time buyers more? And in particular, how can brokers and lenders together improve?
So I'll answer those questions separately. So firstly, I'm not just saying this because I'm here, but I thought track record was a brilliant piece of innovation. And one thing I'm very, very keen on is lenders doing innovative and interesting stuff. And I think yourself and Accord, I've named another lender, but I think the products you brought out really help in that space. Mm-hmm. And I think in terms of the challenges, for me, if I look back at Help to Buy, which is a much maligned product, and I'm certainly not sitting here saying it was perfect, but from the intermediary space, what it did, it really did assist with social mobility. Yeah. So I think the two challenges for first-time buyers are deposit and affordability. Mm-hmm. I think we're now in a climate where we're getting some good options for both in silo, but nothing has really come through yet which really contributes both together. Okay. So track record, no deposit, but then you wouldn't be able to borrow the 7 times income some people might need as per your affordability index, and vice versa. So I think that's one of the challenges, is how do we combine the two and create real social mobility again. In terms of brokers and lenders working closer together, for me, and some broker firms are doing a really good job on this. I think MAB are a good example, but it's about lenders actually maybe speaking to brokers about, where do your clients come from? How do we assist? And I think when we were in the really good market, particularly, say post-COVID, those 2 years, which were crazy, for a lot of intermediaries, they were so busy, they had to turn into hunters. So as a client approaches the desk, right, need to do this application, move on. Now I think we're going back to an environment where intermediaries are looking to farm. They're looking to actually engage with people 1 year, 2 year, 3 years before they hit that buying part of the process. Okay. That for me is really interesting, because that's where lenders can really assist with data, marketing, education, a bit of hand-holding, to kind of see those clients through and then educate them into becoming first-time buyers. And I think of things like track record. There's a lot of people out there who just rent because they think it's all they can do. And particularly in my background, being in the London and South East market, renting a one-bed could be like £1,500 a month. It's crazy. So the sooner we can get these people on the ladder, the better. But they may not realise there are options out there. Shared ownership being another example that actually can really heavily assist. So I think collaboratively as an industry, and I really heavily put ourselves in there as well. We really should be doing some thought leadership and work. But it's educating these people early on, doing some marketing, doing some thought leadership, helping brokers get these people educated and set up to become first-time buyers of the future.
So plan for the near, medium-term future, lender, broker, working closely together with distribution, so that it's not a, what do I do now when I'm ready to buy? It's, I've already been helped to get there. Now I'm ready to make some decisions.
Yeah, and really conscious thought of it as well. I think when I visited here a few weeks ago, one thing I came away from is, you say you're first-time buyer obsessed. Okay, great. But then what I was here for like 7 hours, and every meeting I did, it was first-time buyer obsessed first. And I got the train home thinking, oh, actually they meant it. They really meant it. But I think now it's about us as brokers and distributors almost following that lead and going, right, let's all be first-time buyer obsessed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So as you say, the Affordability Index, we recently launched it at Skipton, and the Affordability Index is based on 2 scores. So the proportion of a household's income they will spend on rent or a mortgage, council tax, utility bills, insurance, and kind of average of essential maintenance. And also the affordability to buy score, which is buying power, house prices, associated purchasing costs. So the idea behind the index is to give, I guess, a better sense, more locally, more regionally, of the challenges around not only home ownership, as in buying your first home, but also the ability to move, so buying onto another a second home, or another home, but also the cost to rent as well. And the idea is that, customer, the consumer can see at a glance where they sit in terms of the index. But one of the interesting conversations I've had recently when I've been out with the BDMs is how interested brokers are in the index. So how do you think brokers could use the tool more to help their clients?
So I suppose, going back to the previous point, it fits in perfectly with the education piece in terms of sitting with a client and explaining, here's the challenge you face, which even having that information is interesting. So maybe some people are sat there going, I'll save for another year, it's fine. Or maybe going, I can never get there, and it's a tool to help there. But also it's about knowing your local area and knowing the pockets you have and actually saying, okay, so this is the challenge in this area. These are the products we need. This is the innovation we need. We need to go and speak to lenders and address this. So perversely, you might be helping the rest of other lenders. I know you don't mind that. But I think that's what they need, because as lenders, obviously, you constantly hear from brokers, we need this, we need that. It's quite anecdotal on occasion, and getting anecdotal past risk is difficult. But actually having the set data there to say, no, this is a challenge. You could even see it move back to a world where if you can prescribe the cost of living costs by postcode or by geographical area, like on the index at the moment, maybe affordability calculations take that into account. Seeing it in new build already. Okay. So it's a really good tool.
So you'd advocate firms getting together, maybe talking to distributors about, this is what we see, this is where we could maybe help potential buyers or future home movers, and then engaging with lenders generally to look at better solutions.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Exactly that.
All right, good. Last question, finally. So one for you. What can lenders, but also brokers, expect from L&G in the, I'm going to say, short to medium term? So what have you got on the stocks?
Lots. Short answer is, and I think this is part of the restructure. So lenders, hopefully you've noticed it, where we've come back into the market. We've got a big team of 8 on the lender front now, and similar on the broker side. And to steal the words from obviously my boss, Claire, we want to be relationship obsessed. So lenders and brokers, we want to be the close strategic partners. And if I go back with lenders to the point I made earlier about what we now cover as mortgage services, we want to be your strategic partner in all areas of the market. So quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, if a lender is thinking, we think this part of the market is an area we should go to, if we're not working with you on it from day one, we really, really should be. Okay. But then also it's about adding value. So we need to add value to you as lenders through the distribution routes and helping with kind of events, broker events, etc., and feedback. But also for the broker side, it's maybe, do we help your business with new build, which I think you'll see us go back to in a big way. Right. Later life lending, I think we should be big thought leaders there. Specialist lending, we've obviously got Referral Pro, but do advisors have the confidence to really open up those conversations on more complex buy-to-let, bridging, commercial? Okay. And as a distributor in L&G, I think we should assist in those conversations. So we've got some really exciting plans coming up, and in the next few months, hopefully, that will come to fruition. That
sounds fascinating. So with your list of 100 priorities and the things that you've got coming up in the next few months, I'm going to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to Skipton.
Always a pleasure.
And I'll speak to you again soon.
Brilliant.
Thanks,
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you.